Hello, my name is Kazimierz Łysiak and you're watching a special conversation here on World Talks. Special because in a moment I will be speaking to an eyewitness of the massive protest that took place in Iran in the beginning of the month. She's an Iranian living in Poland who was in Iran as the regime crackdown grew to an unprecedented scale. For safety reasons, you won't be seeing her face and I will be addressing her by a different name. Ariana, welcome to TVP World and thank you for agreeing to speak with us.
Thank you for having me.
So let's start in the beginning. Can you just walk us through the first days of the protest? I mean, you were there just as the protests began.
Yeah, when I went there, I witnessed that the city is totally empty during the day. Like in Tehran, you always see during the day and working hours huge traffic, but government said that everywhere all the offices are closed and they made excuses because of the weather, it's just polluted and it's dangerous. But obviously it was for obvious reasons. And it was 7th and 8th of January that our prince, Reza Pahlavi, asked people to go to the street and take over the main streets. And his post on Instagram requesting that got 90 million views, even though it was only in Persian language, which shows that 90 million Iranians watched his request. And shockingly, especially for governments and for those in power, they would never imagine such a thing. Millions of people came to the streets answering to his request, calling his name very, very clearly. Everybody had the flag of Iran before this Islamic regime from Shah time, which was used, but it has a lion and a sun on it, which is the symbol of Persia. It is a very old, meaningful flag. And they were taking Islamic regime's flags down, putting this flag there and showing King Pahlavi is returning to the country. This is the last fight we are fighting. And millions of people, from young people, some families with small kids, elderly people, even those that they couldn't really properly walk with the help, they were there and calling Reza Pahlavi. The first day, it was like they were surprised and the regime was surprised, and the fight was like people kind of managed to push them back because apparently they didn't have order to shoot at people with a war gun. So they were a lot of tear gas were shot at people, and people learned how to fight them back like that. There were huge fires on the streets because of that reasons, to help them to not to choke or feel really bad because of these tear gas.
And you were there on the street?
Of course, when I came back to Poland, I had to wash all my clothes. They were like smelling and really bad situation. Some of them were full of blood. So what happened the second night was the night that talking about it is very, very difficult for me, but I'm doing it for my people because we don't have many voices to talk for us, to talk about us. The second night, everything changed. Again, Pahlavi asked people to go to the street and take over the main street. Millions of people, even more than the night before, were on the streets, and suddenly we noticed something changed. We saw those bullets were real and people were bleeding, falling down, dying, bodies on top of bodies. All the street was full of blood. I don't know, I'm not sure if I'm allowed to say such a thing. I saw a young boy that his head was far from his body. I have no idea how this could happen. People having bullet in their forehead, they were actually shooting at people from buildings, on top of the buildings. There are videos on that as well. So we were running back in one of these attacks from IRGC agents that I was with my mom. Obviously, they wouldn't let me go alone. My mom said, "You have a small child who's waiting for you. So if they start shooting, I'm gonna be. I prefer the bullet to hit me. I don't have anything to tell your daughter if something happens." So my mom would not even leave me for a second. My brother was in the front line. We were running back together because they attacked. Suddenly, one of my brother's friends shouted that, wait, I don't name, so I just speak like that. He's shot, and they were a little bit around like a few meters far from us. We looked back, we went to them, and we saw he and his friend both are shot. My brother was shot with a war gun, unfortunately, I was told with Kalashnikov, and his friend was shot with the non-war bullets, and he was bleeding a lot. We took them in one of the buildings, and many people would collaborate, give their apartments and buildings for wounded people who were running away from the IRGC. So we ran to that building. Unfortunately, I saw we are not the only ones. Many people there were shot. There was a woman who was shot in her eye, not a war gun, obviously, but it was gone. Her eye was gone. She was bleeding and she was in too much pain. It was horrible. And my mom was very strong. I tried to stay strong and help. Eventually someone said, "I have a car here, please let me just take them to the hospital because they're gonna die, they're bleeding a lot, we don't have anything." And the bullet was in my brother's leg still. I don't know. Then we took them to the hospital. Even worse, hospital was full of dead bodies on the floor, like on top of each other, naked, bullets on, blood everywhere. And they said, "Oh, don't come here. The IRGC is gonna come and take them. We don't have anyone here. Everybody wounded, a lot of people." So a nurse came eventually and tried to help and patch it and just do something. She was doing it for almost 20 minutes, and they gave even IV to my brother, and he needed blood. And after I think around 20-25 minutes, IRGC agents arrived. They started like shooting on the sky and say swear, very rude, and we gonna take your bastards and so on. And they took all the bodies and all those that they were wounded, including my brother.
And you are there, you've seen this with your own eyes.
Yes. And then me and many others, they brought their beloved or friends, their friends there. So we ran out. Obviously, we couldn't catch them. They pushed us. They said they're gonna kill us as well if we do something or follow them or anything. We gave up. My mom said, "Listen, let's get back to the fight. He's gonna be fight. I believe in him," and so on. And so my mom actually showed very, very huge strength and bravery that I never imagined she would have in her. I didn't, but I was just following her.
How do you find any sort of strength in this situation? I mean, you're witnessing things which are so brutal on the streets in your country, in your city. How do you deal with that?
I don't think we deal with it. We keep it inside until the day that we get rid of this Islamic regime. And first we celebrate. That's what everybody says. We are keeping ourselves strong. We are not mourning. Even if you see the videos, those people that they lost their beloved ones, they are dancing in their grave with happy songs and celebrating it. We are waiting for this regime, Islamic regime, to be gone. We will have a huge celebration, and then we mourn for them.
Very quickly, can you just, if you had a message to the people in your country, if they could hear you, what would you say to them right now?
I'm so proud of them. I'm so really proud of them. The bravest people I've ever seen. Even I couldn't imagine how brave they were, standing in front of bullets. I saw that myself, carrying their friends that they were shot, even though they knew they could be shot as well.
I understand.
Don't give
Unfortunately, we do have to end here, but don't give up is a message that we're
Yes,
hearing
don't give
from
up.
Iranians.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Ariana, for joining us here
Thank you
on
for
TVP World. You are watching a special conversation with an Iranian who's living in Poland but witnessed these protests. Thank you.